If you look here closely at the rear of the bike, you'll notice I've got the factory rack on it, or what I'd say the pannier rack. Now, when you look at this particular one there, this is only the old solo version, so I did buy one of those with the intention of just putting the fiberglass or rack onto the back on the right hand side, but I put it on the bike and it looks a little bit on the lopsided side, which I wasn't really happy with. So meanwhile I ordered a set of factory style racks from eBay and they arrived today. I wasn't going to do a video putting it together, but I just thought I'd just show you what it looks like. So when you look at this one here, like so, the bike does look a little bit lopsided with it on, and when you think of it, roughly $100 to buy the solo, or say $200 if you buy the complete system there with the dual rack setup. And more important, with the dual rack setup, you notice it's got the little piece here at the bottom, little step there for the saddlebags to sit on. So when you're looking at this side of the bike here, the left side, when you bring these racks up in place, they'll just sit up here like so. So that's the plan. So in other words, you'll do a mount on this part of the rear mudguard stay, one up to the shock absorber and one down to the bottom of the stay here. So it's just a matter of remove those three and fit her in place. So that's fairly straightforward to put on. So I might go ahead with that on, we'll see how it looks. Now at this stage, when I got them here on a dry fit, this one here doesn't really line up down the bottom. So I don't know, I'm no expert on this, so what I might do is just chop a little bit off this side here to see if I can get the hole or the bottom area here to line up a little bit better. And back over here, in this section here, I think I'll maybe bend it a little bit there, see if I can get in a bit closer. And I've got a bit of a rubber tube from one of the old Enfields there, and I might use that as a rubber support onto the framework itself there to give it a little bit more vibration damping. This bottom bracket here, got the angle grinder out and I cut that, well actually nipped the corner off it here so I can get into it a little bit tighter. Might go there, put a little bit of black paint on that one there shortly and fix that side up. This top one here worked alright, so it lined up okay. Over on this side here, what I actually did, I bent these ones a little bit over to run along a little bit smoother there, and this bit of matting here I got on the ground, I just put between it, so it'll give it a little bit of insulation, or you could say a little bit of vibration dampening, and when I put the bags on later on, they'll sort of cover that side of it and you won't see it. But at this stage, it's really sturdy, no movement in it whatsoever. And then when you pan back, like so, it doesn't look too bad on the bike at all. Now that's that side out of the way. And around this side here, we got that Royal Enfield factory rail. So what I'm going to do is pull this one off, swing it over and put it on the blue bike, and then put the other one back on there. Yeah, so back to these rails here. I'm not sure if these rails would be what you class as Royal Enfield factory rails. For panniers, they could be, I'd say, more classed as aftermarkets, but I'm not sure about that one. Now what I did find, when I bought these ones, I ordered them about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they took a while to get here and stuff like that, and I think I paid $140 including free postage, and at that stage they were going from $140 up to the others were averaging about $200. Now I did notice today when I was checking on the site that the prices have dropped on them now, and you can get them up to around about $100 Australian including free delivery, so that's pretty good. You know, sure, you might have to get here and tweak them up a bit before you get out there and do it. They mightn't be perfect fit, or some of them might be. It just depends on, I suppose, how they go when they make them. But I think overall, you know, for the money you spend on them, and if you want to do a little bit of work on them yourself, I think they're pretty good. So if you look at the rack on it there now, I think that looks pretty good on that side, so blends in really good with this matte black bike, and you know, I think pretty good value for money at 140, and be even better value at $100. So keep that in mind. I'm pretty happy with it for that sort of outlay, and more importantly, you couldn't do it yourself for that price, so that's where the value lies. On the left hand rail, as mentioned previous in the clip, I had to do a little bit of work down here in the bottom left. Top was okay. A little bit of work here on this one here, and I put a rubber insert on that one. Now over on the right hand rail, everything worked fine, and everything lined up nice and spot on. Yeah, so once again, put an insert in this section here so it sort of didn't scratch the rail, and give it a bit of anti-vibration in that section there. But apart from that, you see it now on it, looks pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with that. So if you look at the back here now, that almost looks like it's just factory fresh, come that way, and I think you'd be pretty happy riding this bike around with just the rails on it as is, because my thoughts are it looks pretty good just sitting there as a factory looking bike. But we've got a bit more to go with this now, so I've also bought the pannier bags to go with it too. So we'll swing over to the pannier bags, I'll give you a look at those ones, and then we'll put those on the bike, and then I'll give you a total cost of what it cost me all up. These are the panniers I bought from India. These are the ones classed as light green, and they took me roughly 2 weeks from the time of purchase till they arrived from Australia, and they sort of arrive in this sort of a flat pack form. Now we'll get to fitting them, and we've got the framework setting up there, so I'll just show you now. At the back here, they've got more like a Velcro set up here, where you unclip, loosen her off a bit, bring her over to the frame rail, slap her on, push her down like so, press her in at the back, and you've got the bag sitting there at that stage. So having the bag sitting there is just not good enough, because naturally if you hit any bumps it'd just eventually shake itself out. So what we've got to do now is attach it properly, and we swing it down like so. Unclip this Velcro here out like this, loop it back in onto the frame rail like such, swing it in there, bring it through the D clips like so. I bring it in tight there and push it back there and get a bit of a grip there like so. Bring it back here, run it through, pull it back through, around there, and you'll find now it's nice and tight on that one. So back around the other side. Same procedure. Back here, round, there you are. Not going anywhere, all good. Alright guys, now let's take a look inside the bag. So lift up the top, back here, pull her out. We've got a strap, so in case later on we want to go somewhere, we don't have to leave the bags sitting on the bike. We can just unclip it, put our clips either side on the rings, off we go. This one's already pre-attached, so you can please yourself if you do it, but I don't know, I think when I've got them on, I don't think I'll be carting them away anywhere, but it's just something I'll think about later on, whether I'll go that way or not. We'll go further into the bag now. Yeah, so once you have a close look at these bags, it's got like a waterproof top built into the canvas bag, so I suppose you could get it back to this section here, fold it over, that. Bring it across and clip it. That should hold it a bit better. Get it down into it. Bring it over like so. After you got your stuff in, of course. Bring it back to here like this. I really think these bags are pretty good value considering what they are. They mightn't be as good as someone with hard case stuff like that, but you know, for the bit of money you pay for them, you know, can't expect too much. And I really reckon if they were made by a top manufacturer that knew how to charge, you'd pay quite a bit of money for these. And you'd probably be pretty happy to pay the money, and you were thinking you were getting a good deal. And look at that, looks good. I'll just pull back a bit and you can have a bit of a look from there. And I think it looks pretty good on this green bike. Might just set the other one up and then give you a bit of a pan around the bike and you can have a look from there. Okay, job complete now, and let's take a bit of a pan around. There it is. Best thing I like about this idea, if I go out there and take the drone out or a few of the other things, I can put them all in there and it'll be nice and secure. You can tell now, nicely secure, and these are empty at the moment, so naturally when you put a bit of weight on them, you know, it'll be even a lot better than what it is here now. And more importantly, this light green matches the bike really well, especially this marsh green or marsh grey. How important this is, I've got another video coming up where I went out there and did a, I think it was roughly about 40 or so kilometre ride on a really rough dirt track. Yeah, I had one of the other cameras on board on this bike here, and I had it in just a backpack on the back of this blue bike. It did 50 kilometres on the back in a pouch there with the drone, and that was a Canon G7X. Unfortunately, by the time I'd done the trip, the camera had virtually shaken to pieces, broke one of the, what would you call, sort of a ribbon that went in from one side of the camera to the other. Back door fell off the thing, stripped the ribbon, and cut a long story short, the camera's a write-off and no longer any good for anything. So it's in the bin now, and that was $1,000 trip for nothing. So apart from that, that's the main reason now I'm going to probably get rid of the crate idea, and that's the only reason I'm going to go for these soft bags idea, because if I would have had that camera in these soft bags or anything valuable into the soft bags when it was riding along there, I don't think I would have got into that situation. So I'll put rails, I think, on the blue bike if I'm going to go out and do filming on that, and carry the camera gear in that, because I think it's a lot safer idea. So but listen, on that one, you'll see that clip coming up. It's a fairly interesting one on the idea coming up. You'll see where I'll be running on this road where I come across sheep, cattle, an idiot in a four-wheel drive. It comes through a creek crossing. It almost wipes me out, but I was aware of the creek crossing, but he wasn't. Kangaroos on the side of the road, pigs, everything sort of on that one run along the road, including that camera getting done in. So it was a fairly interesting ride as far as things go, but an expensive one at that. So apart from that, total cost here involved with these things like frame rails and pannier bags for this bike. Total cost was roughly, I think, $220 Australian in total, and I'm pretty happy with that. I reckon for this particular bike, the Marsh Green, it's brought the bike up looking pretty good for what it is, and it almost like period army style. So apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the look of putting this on and what $220 can do to your bike. And more importantly, I think you could carry quite a bit of storage in it, because I think they rate them around, I don't know, 10 or 15 litres per cycle, so you know, extra 30 litres of carrying. And more importantly, I reckon I could fit quite a lot of stuff in that. So black rack there in the middle, and it'll sort of take that emptiness out of the centre, and it'll be complete. So once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look. I'll catch up with you later.